Hey everybody, so little tutorial here that we're going to try and zoom through everything to do with programming. So let's start off with all the variable types that we need to know. So I'm going to try and build a little program here to exemplify all the different constructs you need to know. So let's just run through the basics and we'll see what we know. So variable type for this, hopefully you can guess, string. Holds text. Another good example to get your head around strings. Here is an example of a UK postcode. That is also a string. So it's got numbers, letters, and unprinted characters, or non-printable characters. We should have variables like this, which are integers, and they are whole numbers, negative, and positive. We have other types of variables which are reals. I'll get the hashtag in there, real, but obviously in Python we'll refer to them as floats, but in exam scenarios we discuss them as real. What else have we got? Can drive, an example to use here as a boolean. We need to store true and false. Initial, that would be, and in fact we actually type this a little bit different. That's the same thing in Python. To store one character, which is basically what strings are, and you can learn more about strings if you come back for IB level. So I think that's them all. Integers, reals, boolean, strings, characters. If the other ones come up in the program, we'll clarify them. Now, the next part that builds on that is data structures. Now, the only data structure that you need to know at this point, and if you know more, that's great, is arrays. So if we had an array that was size 4 or 5, let's go with some really amazing bands. There we go, so that's 4, let's just put another one in there. Oh my goodness, can't think of any band names. There we go, so we've got 5 artist of strings there, and those are all, that is an array of strings, size 5. Now, what we need to understand is the whole facility of parallel arrays, and anyone who's a good coder will know this is why 2D arrays would be used. However, if we are using, let's just to clarify this as an integer array of integer array rather, and let's just type up some random numbers for the number of plays that each track or each band has had on Spotify. Whoops, need to stop using the automatic typing by accident. There we go. So that's literally all the variables and data structures that we need to put in. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have some parts here just to show you how you can basically reuse the same pieces of code within reason. Let me just type these first. And how we can use these to do the majority of the things we need to do. This is the one, this one with the most changes. Now it's important to remember that this is a do while loop, and it might never be executed in the program, and we use that for validation. And this is a fixed loop, and that repeats a specific number of times. And there are another type of loop, which is a do loop until, which you need to know of. It's not in Python, which would be executed at least once. Now, another one would be a conditional statement, where we use if x greater than y or y greater than z, then do some code. Now pretty much everything I'm going to do, I'm going to start off by copying and pasting code there. So let me do a piece of code that print out the total number of plays of an artist. So what I want to do first, I want to input artist to find. So for that, I'm going to use the input one. Put there input. So I'll store it in var just to save any changes here. It's not the best name. Enter band to search for. Then we can use the whole premise of the parallel arrays for each band in artists as our comment. Let's copy the code that I said I was going to use. We'll use x in range y. So y is going to start, x is going to start at 0, and then this is going to go for the length of artists. I'll check my spelling. Artists. And then what do you want to do? You want to check if that current one equals the search. Let's just do that. So if, and that will be the var that we're searching for, equals the artists at the current one. I don't need the second part. And the one that we missed from this earlier part would be print question mark like this. So I'll steal the print. So if the search equals the current one, then I want to print something out. So in this case, I can print out artists x, comma, has this many plays. And then we want to print out plays at whatever the x is. So let's run it. Hopefully we get no errors. Let's see, Y10 all code. Saved, running. So you can see enter band to search for. If I type in one of the bands which are there, you can see it pops up with this band has that number of plays. If I type in a band that does not exist, you can see that nothing happens. So here's some other things we could do. Let's use a boolean to figure out. So let's see, found equals false, which means we haven't found them before we start looking. If this part happens, we can say found equals true. And after the loop, we can use that if code. Let's just steal that part again. If, change our conditions in here, found still equals false. We can use the print code to print out and say, sorry, no band found. Now if we run that this time and do the same as the last time, we can do blah, 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 type for something that doesn't exist, and then we get that boolean and the conditional statement popping up and telling us that they don't exist. Now, some of the other things you need to recognize is counting, and basically that will be exemplified in pseudocode as counts. And let me do, well, I can't type the arrow here, so it would be the arrow like that. That'll do for now. It's set to count plus 1. So let's do some code. Count up number of artists with over, let's see the number of plays here. So over 500 plays will count, so we can see that there should be 2 over 500 plays. So again, let's reuse this code. So we've got something for setting variables equal to something here, so we could paste that, and this time let's just change it. So the count at the beginning is going to equal 0, no need to input that. Look for each artist. Let's use the for loop code that we've got here. Now this could equally be you loading up previous programs. So for X in range, start at 0 and go for the length. Let's use plays this time. I think that was what we called that list. Yep, plays. And we want to use an if statement for this one. So let's do that. Now, what the year 12s and 13s will tell you, the majority of the programs they write have some sort of loop. Some sort of loop, whether it's fixed or conditional, and some sort of conditional statement inside it to do most of their programs. So this one, if the plays at X, which is the current, is greater than 500, then we want to do something with that variable. So again, it's probably really stupid at this point to copy paste that one, but we will, just to show you that you can do it with that one. We want to set the count equal to the count plus 1. The way we've got the count here. So whenever you've got plus 1, we're counting up the occurrences of something. And then after it's done, let's use the print code. So copy the print code and print out total artists who have over 500 plays is, and then after it, display the count. Now it's going to do the search part, so let's just type in something, no band found, total artists who have over 500 plays is 2, which is exactly what I was expecting to happen. Now the other thing that you need to know about is totaling, which might seem, and it is very similar to counting, but it's when we're adding up the total amount of things that happen, like we would do for average plays. So we'll add that in. So again, similar to last time, let's copy paste from previous code. So we get count equals 0. This time let's use total. We obviously want to repeat for each artist. So again, I can reuse my old code there. Look for each artist. And this time there's no if. We just want to total them up. So we want to say the total equals total plus plays at X. Now you can see that looks similar to this one, but the important difference is it's plus 1 in the count, and it's plus the value on this particular one. And then again, we can print that out. So what we can do is, I'll just print a blank line before it. Total plays of your songs. Instead of count, we can print out the total. Run it again. So we'll search for a band. Let's try it again, just make sure it's still working. You can see it displays that, no problem. Total artists, fine. Total plays of your song, 6738, perfect. Now, I said about displaying average, so we can add that in really easily. Well, let's calculate it first. So again, let's steal former code and change it to suit. So we've got average equals the total divided by the number of occurrences, which is the length of plays. And then we can do that part again, and we'll print out average plays per artist, and print out the average. Run that part again. For everything, so you can see there 1347.6, which obviously is not possible to get 0.6 of a play, so we could use predefined procedures, predefined functions that would allow us to do that. One way of getting that to not have the decimal would be to use the average functionality. So again, let's try this. You can see there that that's, I believe that rounded it down to the nearest one, so we can put that part in there. So basically anything I want to do, I could use the principles of this here. So let's find out, we'll find the max artist. Let's see how we can do this. So we can have the max index set to 0. For X in range greater than this one, we want to have the if statement where we compare the first with the next one. So let's put that in here. If plays at X is greater than plays at max index, then we can manipulate this code to say the max index, careful, equals X, and then display the artist which is played most is, and we want to display from the artists array at max index, take out these PCs, and put in their songs have been played, and then we want to display plays at max index. Now let's just check what the answer we're looking for there will be. So that would be this band We Came As Wolves, 4, 5, 6, 7 plays. And if we run it, just do a search, you can see that that one mistyped, not the same. Still get the same answers as before, and then our find max part's working. So hopefully you would be able to understand how to do the find the minimum there. Should be straightforward enough. Now really the only thing we haven't got in here is a case statement, which is another example of selection, which we can't do in Python because it doesn't have that construct. We've seen how we can use predefined functions called int to save me code. I would need to mess around using modulo division to figure out what that would be. So that saved me a bit of time using code there. Same with length, that saved me a bit of time using these pre-written, pre-tested codes. The only thing we've not put in here really is any examples of validation. Now we could do that on that first search where we've got the ability to go back and use a lookup check for this type of validation. And then again, I'll use the while loop from what we written earlier, and we can kind of change it. This is why I've written here lots of different types, because you can't give one example, whereas the for loop is very, very similar pattern all the time. So for this one, we can say, well, that var, which is really badly named, not in artists. We can print a little error message and say selection not found, and then we could cheat again and print out enter band to search for. Now when we run this part, this loop might execute 0 times, or it might loop infinitely. If I keep searching for a band that does not exist, we know that the computer is going to win. It's never going to let me not have one. So we came as wolves. There we go. And it's not until you put in something that exists until it will move past that. Now that's because this is a procedural language. It moves through one line of code in sequence, so executes this line of code, executes this line of code, executes this line of code. It moves through one piece of code at a time. Fetch, execute cycle is kind of relevant to that part as well. So that's a very quick overview of every piece of code. I can start to do really complex things with everything here now. If I want this program part here to repeat and again and again and again, we can just indent it and say, well, repeat equals true. Do that, and I'll have a repeat variable here that will set to true, and then we can get another one here that we will say paste that in there and put in repeat equals would you like to repeat? And we can use other functionality we've looked at. Upper, we can use the lookup check to say whether it's not yes. So let's just use Y, and let's use N. And we can copy paste that code and then use the conditional statement from earlier to get another type of validation. Oops, so they'll get validation again there, another lookup check. If repeat equals yes, then we'll set repeat equal to true, else repeat equals false. Now there's parts of that that's pretty silly. We're using the same variable here and here, which are actually different types. That's not great programming, but it's just a quick example. So if we run that, let's see, errors we've got is double equals for comparisons, and we've got another error somewhere. Let's see, yeah, same again for comparisons, double equals. Very easy to make that mistake. So let's search for a band we know is there. They're not found because I need to type exactly the bands that are in there. So if I say yes to repeat, if I Cairo, would you like to repeat? No, and then it moves on. Now that's messed up because I have accidentally deleted or not included the search part inside that loop. So if I want to fix that, I can go on and do the indentation of that part, and let's try that again. Let's search for the band, and really I want to do the order. So yes, it'll print out Biffy Clyro. I think this is on another one. Try to repeat, yes, it prints that one out. If we type one, it doesn't exist. It tells us not found, not found, not found, and try one again. Prints out, would you like to repeat? No, and then it moves through the rest of the program in sequence, procedurally, to finish everything else off.